Good morning and welcome to Bite Size Book Reviews. My name is V and the book I'll be talking about today is called The Ink Master's Silence by C.J. Archer. This story is set in 1890s London in a version of our world where magic exists but is not well known or widespread. So basically they've always had magicians throughout history, but due to fear from what they call the artless, or people with no magic, magicians mostly went into hiding, and a lot of the knowledge and power of magic has been lost over time. Now, magic in this universe is more based around different trades. So for instance, you have paper magicians who'd be really good at making high quality paper, and ink magicians who are really good at making high quality ink. And some of these magicians can also manipulate their artifacts a little. So for instance, making paper fold itself with a few words, or getting the words on a page to float off the page. So mostly really subtle things. The main characters in this story are India, who's technically a clock magician, although she doesn't really work with clocks anymore. She can make them run on time, and she can also sometimes use them to help extend the duration of other people's magic. Then you have the person she likes, who's called Matthew, or Matt for short. Let's see, so there are two main plot lines in this book. First is the murder mystery. So I mentioned before that magic isn't really well known because of these weekly articles written by a journalist who is himself an ink magician. Awareness that magicians and magic exists is becoming more widespread and is causing a great deal of tension. I guess mainly between known magicians and everybody else. A lot of people are afraid of them and don't want to lend to them, or there's a great deal of animosity between artless craftsmen and these magicians because they're afraid that magic will somehow give them an advantage and help them steal customers or get ahead in business in some way. So because of this, the journalist has been getting a lot of threats, both people with magic and people without don't want him to continue publicizing magic the way he has been. And at some point, the editor of his paper actually gets murdered, and he suspects that he's actually the target because of the messages that he's been receiving. And he approaches India and Matt to try to figure out who's been threatening him and to catch the culprit, the person who actually killed the editor. The second plot line is more around India and Matt's relationship. So they kind of want to get married, but because of some unfortunate circumstances with Matthew's family, he's sort of trapped in an engagement with his cousin. He has to marry her because he's being blackmailed and to try to save her reputation because the person she originally intended to marry backed out of that engagement. So India and Matt are trying to find a way around this so that they don't, cause patients more pain, but can also save their own happiness, I suppose, to find a way to allow him not to have to go through with this wedding. The mystery part is structured, I think, more like what I would consider a traditional kind of mystery, where you have the characters going around and interviewing potential suspects and talking to witnesses and things like that. So I think I kind of liked the more subtle take on magic in this story, and the setting was definitely a little bit more unusual, at least compared to the stuff I've been reading lately. And I think it was kind of nice to have this kind of investigative mystery. I think it's a little quieter than some of what I've been reading lately. But I think the one thing that I didn't like as much was that a lot of times there was a great deal of tension in the conversation, because I feel a bit like India and Matt aren't very tactful when they approach the people they talk to. And because of that, when you're interviewing potential suspects and stuff, it creates a great deal of tension in the way they communicate. And I feel they often approach trying to get information in ways where it's not really that surprising that you don't get people who want to talk to you. On the whole, though, I think it was, not overly stressful and fairly interesting, so I probably will read more of this series. So I found out that this is like book 6 of a series, so I'm probably going to go back and take a look at book 1.